Crown and Conquest: The Russian Empire's Impact on World History.
But before we start, please support us by pressing like and subscribe buttons. Also turn on the bell notification to get the latest updates. Your support means a lot to us. Thank you.
Russian Empire, 1721 to 1917, was one of the largest empires in world history, spanning 3 continents, Europe, Asia, and North America at its peak. It was ruled by the Romanov dynasty and played a central role in European and world affairs for nearly 2 centuries before its collapse during the Russian Revolution of 1917. Early formation, pre-1721. Before the establishment of the Russian Empire, Russia had emerged from the Grand Duchy of Moscow. Ivan IV, Ivan the Terrible, had crowned himself as the first Tsar of Russia in 1547. Under Ivan and his successors, Muscovy expanded its territory through wars, marriage alliances, and diplomacy. By the early 17th century, the Tsardom of Russia controlled vast lands but faced internal struggles and external threats from powers like Poland, Lithuania, and Sweden. Peter the Great and the birth of the Empire, 1682 to 1725. The Russian Empire was formally established in 1721 under Peter the Great, r. 1682 to 1725, who is often credited with transforming Russia into a major European power. Peter was a reformer who sought to modernize Russia along Western European lines. His key reforms included military reforms. Peter built a powerful navy and reorganized the army. Westernization. He encouraged European customs, science, and technology in Russia. Expansion. Peter expanded Russian territory, most notably by defeating Sweden in the Great Northern War, 1700 to 1721, gaining access to the Baltic Sea and founding St. Petersburg, which became the new capital. 18th century expansion. Russia continued its territorial expansion throughout the 18th century. Catherine the Great, ARB 1762 to 1796, is particularly famous for her military conquests and domestic policies that consolidated Russian power. Her reign saw annexation of Crimea from the Ottoman Empire, partitioning of Poland with Prussia and Austria, which effectively erased Poland from the map by the end of the century. Expansion into the Caucasus and Siberia. During this period, Russia also became involved in the European balance of power politics, establishing itself as a key player in European diplomacy and wars. 19th century, Napoleon, revolts, and reform. In the early 19th century, Alexander I, r. 1801 to 1825, led Russia through the Napoleonic Wars, playing a critical role in Napoleon's defeat in 1812 during the failed French invasion of Russia. Russia emerged as a leading European power in the post-Napoleonic period. However, internal tensions were rising. The Decembrist Revolt in 1825, led by reform-minded military officers, failed but demonstrated dissatisfaction with autocratic rule. Nicholas I, r. 1825 to 1855, sought to maintain order through censorship, secret police, and repression, promoting the principles of orthodoxy, autocracy, and nationality. The Crimean War, 1853 to 1856, exposed Russia's military and technological weaknesses as it faced defeat against a coalition of Britain, France, and the Ottoman Empire. Following this, Alexander II, r. 1855 to 1881, embarked on significant reforms, most notably the emancipation of the serfs in 1861, freeing millions of peasants from centuries of bondage. Despite reforms, revolutionary movements gained traction due to continued social inequality and political repression. Alexander II was assassinated in 1881 by anarchists. Late 19th century, industrialization and autocracy. The late 19th century saw Russia undergoing rapid industrialization under Alexander III, r. 1881 to 1894, and Nicholas II, r. 1894 to 1917. Despite these economic changes, political power remained tightly controlled by the Tsar, and political opposition grew. Russia faced ethnic nationalism. Many ethnic minorities in the empire, such as Poles, Finns, and Ukrainians, began demanding autonomy or independence. Labor unrest. poor working conditions in newly industrialized areas led to strikes and protests. In 1905, defeat in the Russo-Japanese War and the Bloody Sunday Massacre in St. Petersburg sparked the 1905 Revolution, which forced Nicholas II to grant limited reforms, including the establishment of the Duma, a parliamentary body. However, these concessions were not enough to quell revolutionary sentiment. Fall of the Empire, the Russian Revolution 1917, World War I 1914 to 1918, proved disastrous for the Russian Empire. Military defeats, economic hardship, and political incompetence led to widespread discontent. In February 1917, a revolution broke out, forcing Nicholas II to abdicate, ending over 300 years of Romanov rule. The provisional government that took power struggled to maintain control, leading to the October Revolution later that year, when the Bolsheviks, led by Vladimir Lenin, seized power. The Russian Empire collapsed, and the Soviet Union was established in its place. Legacy. The Russian Empire left a profound impact on world history. Its vast size and diverse population made it a major cultural, political, and military force. Russian literature, arts, and science flourished, producing figures like Leo Tolstoy, Fyodor Dostoevsky, Pyotr Tchaikovsky, and Dmitry Mendeleev. The collapse of the Russian Empire directly contributed to the rise of communism and the creation of the Soviet Union, which would shape global politics throughout the 20th century. Despite its fall, the legacy of the Russian Empire remains significant in modern Russia's identity and geopolitical ambitions. The Russian Empire made significant achievements in territorial expansion, governance, and cultural development, which have had lasting effects on the modern world. One of its most important accomplishments was its vast territorial expansion, stretching across Europe, Asia, and even into North America, Alaska, until it was sold to the United States in 1867. The empire's expansion into Siberia, Central Asia, and the Caucasus integrated diverse ethnic groups and natural resources under Russian control, solidifying its status as a global power. This expansion laid the foundation for the Soviet Union's territorial reach and modern Russia's influence in many of these regions today. In governance, the Russian Empire contributed to the modernization of statecraft through reforms, particularly under Peter the Great and Catherine the Great. Peter's westernization reforms in the military, government, and society helped transform Russia into a formidable European power. Catherine's legal reforms and territorial expansion further strengthened Russia's standing. These developments influenced the structure of governance in modern Russia, especially in terms of centralized state power and autocratic traditions. Additionally, the creation of institutions like the Duma, a precursor to modern parliamentary systems, in the early 20th century marked a shift toward limited political representation, an influence still relevant in Russia's political system today. Culturally, the Russian Empire fostered a golden age of literature, arts, and science. The works of Russian writers such as Fyodor Dostoevsky, Leo Tolstoy, and Anton Chekhov became classics that shaped world literature, influencing storytelling and philosophical thought worldwide. In music, composers like Pyotr Tchaikovsky left a lasting legacy, with their works still being performed globally. Russian scientific achievements such as Dmitry Mendeleev's periodic table.
Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe if you like videos like this. Thank you.